Tell us your mentality, man, about playing offensive tackle. I mean, you have the potential, just to be absolutely elite.
Damn, go ahead and share your thoughts on the thesis.
Yeah, baby. That's what we do. We are the Buckeyes. What up, Buckeye Nation? What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I am Devin. Excited to be here tonight. Tinker, quit. Get. Sorry about that. Tinker's joining the show tonight. She's being extra annoying tonight, but that's okay. Hey, guys. Appreciate you guys that are in the chat. Quick reminder, if you're watching this show and you're not in the chat, I advise you, get in the chat, man. Meet new people. It's a fun time in there. You know, nobody's going to bite you too hard. Steely might get at you a little bit, but that's just for the good of the show. You know what I mean? Shout out Steely, dude. He's been a pivotal part of the show for quite some time. Appreciate you, man. As long as several more of you guys in the chat that are here every single night. Shout out Sade, all the thumbnails here recently, helping out with the Instagram account. If you guys have looked at the Buckeye Boys Instagram account and seen some graphics that were put on there and new updates, that's Sade, man, doing a phenomenal job. Very, very talented young man. So excited to have him helping me out. But guys, got a good show planned for you guys. Obviously, this 2026 class coming in is absolutely loaded. There's 5 stars, there's high 4 stars, there's everything in between. But I want to take a look at tonight, which freshmen do we actually think can make an impact? You know what I mean? And there are so many things that depend on that. You got to look at the roster, how many people in that position group, so on and so forth. Physically, is a freshman ready to play or not? We're going to dive into that a little bit, take a look at some of the updated rankings as well. It's all done. 247 has finally they did their updated rankings, I think like a week ago or something. So everything's in there. Ohio State ended with the 3rd ranked class according to Rivals industry ranking, which is pretty good. We were sitting at number 9, guys. But before we dive into this, hit that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button as well. Super chats are open. If you have any questions, put them in super chats. All our super chats go towards helping our veterans who help us out every single day. If you haven't downloaded the Spreaker app and shot Scoop a like on that, do that for us if you can. Same with Apple Podcasts. Hit the like button for Scoop on the Apple Podcast and head over to the Scoop message board if you are not there. Let's dive into this thing, man. We know Buckeyes are going to lose a good amount of players to the NFL draft. They went into the portal to supplement some of those losses, but we heard from Mark Pantoni, and we heard Mark Pantoni talk about, hey, we don't go into the portal for backups. We go into the portal for our starting players. He said the high school class is where you really want to build your backups from. So let's look at this high school class, this 26 class coming in. You know, it was hard for me to dive through and talk about all of them that I think could make an impact, but I narrowed it down. I got 8 players on my list right now, and I got the film pulled up for every single one of them. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth, talking about players and their film and all that. So, you know, we will try to keep up with me with what I got going on tonight. Appreciate everybody for joining. Let's see if I can go back to the top and see who all's in here. Studley, Liz, Steely, Russ, Sean, what's good? Linda. Jeremiah, too cold. I love that. What up, Roll Tide? Appreciate you joining the show tonight. Let's see who else is in here. Sade, Captain F Nuts. Makes you crack so every time I read that name. What up, Doodah Man? Solners, Win Stars. Appreciate you guys for joining tonight, man. Hey, let's dive into this thing. I see you, Heath. What's up? let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the final updated rankings that we got in here for this Buckeyes class. Obviously, Chris Henry sitting at the top for the Rivals Industry. They have him as the number 10 player nationally, the number 1 wide receiver. And then it goes to Sincere Johnson. I just got done watching more Sincere Johnson film, and I might have undervalued his readiness to make an impact on this team, but we'll dive into that a little bit. Number 14 player nationally, the number 1 linebacker. Jay Timmons, number 33 nationally, number 3 corner. Quaden Guilford, number 45 and 5th wide receiver. Khary Wilder, they have him ranked as the 10th defensive line in the country. That's just not true. There are not 9 defensive linemen better than Khary Wilder. And Sam Greer, see his rank in there, top 10 tackle. Blaine Bradford, underrated as well, 71 nationally, the number 6 safety. Jordan Thomas, 105, number 14 corner, and Legend Bay, number 130. And you scroll on down here, there's a lot of other names in there, guys, but I want to bring up another player, Jir Perez, 6'4", 360-pound Jir Perez out of Glenville, Ohio. They had him ranked as the number 87 defensive lineman, the number 857 player nationally. We'll go into that here in a minute. I just wanted to mention where he was ranked real fast, so you guys could see that, because I got a little something to talk about with him. I got some updates as far as what is going on inside of the Woody. Here we go. Let's get this thing rolling. The first player I want to talk about is Khary Wilder, right? I think that coming in to this season, Khary Wilder, you had Kenyatta Jackson coming back. Khary Wilder, about 6'4", 260, 270 pounds, a bigger defensive end, out of California. The Buckeyes zeroed in on him early. And it's been known that, hey, this dude is good enough to play. Ryan Day has said it. Mark Pantoni has said it. This dude's good enough to play as a freshman. Well, you got Kenyatta Jackson, you got Zion Grady, you got Epi, you got Quay Rasal, you got Bo Atkinson in there. So, you can see a 3 to 4, defensive end rotating at all times. I can see it being KJ and Zion. Quay can be used as, even at the linebacker position, he'll be used a little bit differently. Epi's in there as well. And as we saw, Zion Grady beat Bo Atkinson out this year for that number 3 spot. We lost Caden Khary to the draft and eligibility. So Khary Wilder, I can see probably fitting in there around the likes of where Epi is, where he falls in this lineup. But I can see Khary Wilder making an impact as a freshman for sure. You can see his film, see how he moves. At one point in time, let's see, one of these recruiting services had him ranked as the number 1 defensive lineman. I think it was Rivals. Yeah, Rivals, like 2 months before this, had him as literally the number 1 defensive lineman. And now all of a sudden 5 jumped ahead of him. But, I've already told you guys, all there is about these recruiting services. And now when you add in, the fact that these star rankings affect the amount of money that schools are offering these players, it really makes you question how legit some of these rankings are. But either way, you can watch this film and see how disruptive Khary Wilder is, even in all the camp settings, going up against Felix Ojo, going up against some other top offensive tackles in the country. I know Felix Ojo was ranked high, but not that good. But he went up against some other ones as well, and he absolutely dominated. So Khary Wilder, the first one on the list. Guys, would you agree? 1 out of 10, 10 being dude's going to start. Where do you put Khary Wilder as making an impact on this team this year? I got him as a 7. I have him in the rotation, maybe in a 3 or 4-man rotation with KJ and Zion Grady starting, with rotating possibly Epi, possibly Khary Wilder. Quay Rasal will be used as a different type of weapon than these other defensive linemen will. that is my take there. Russ got a 7 as well. Yeah, 8, 8.5, 6 to 7. It's hard for freshmen, especially at the defensive end position, to make an impact. Like the first thing you got to look at with these freshman guys, the first thing I looked at is, hey, are these guys physically ready to play? You know what I mean? Like, because the way that they rank these guys, it's for the future. They don't rank these prospects based off of whether they can come in and make an impact as freshmen. They rank them based off of where they'll get drafted. So, meaning they're looking at these guys and trying to evaluate where they're going to be 3 to 4 years from the time that they're looking at them. So, that's why things get a little messed up when you're looking at some 5-stars and thinking, well, yeah, eventually, but they're not there yet. And it kind of changes with all of them. But you have to physically be ready. Khary Wilder is physically ready. The Buckeyes told him that was the plan early on, and he's been executing that in the weight room. He's been busting his tail. Mark Pantoni and Ryan Day said as much. And I've also got told the dude is a beast. No injuries, no fighting off any injuries right now that I'm aware of. So that is a plus as well. Let's go with the next one. Let's see who's on my list here to pull up. Let's do Chris Henry Jr. Get his highlights pulled up here for you so you can watch him in the background. 740 yards his senior year. We all know Chris Henry Jr., 6'5", 205 pounds. I would argue that the dude is pushing 6'6", okay? Now, there's a couple things here. Everybody knows the wide receiver position at Ohio State. We got JJ, Brandon Ennis, and we know that Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter left for the portal. Buckeyes went in and got Kyle Parker, Devin McQuinn. Then also there's, Philip Bell, Desi Jones waiting there as well. And another freshman, Jaquaden Guilford, who is ranked higher than Chris Henry in some regards. But a lot of people point towards Chris Henry Jr. as the person that's going to come in here and make an impact as a freshman. And, I know there's debate out there about how much impact he's going to make. I've met Chris Henry, saw him play in person. Obviously, he's a physical freak, but when you're a freshman coming in, I don't expect Chris Henry to come in here and start as a freshman. Some people do, but I do expect him to come in. And do you guys remember Carnell Tate, his freshman year, the impact that he had on this team? That's the impact that I expect Chris Henry Jr. to have. Now, I could be completely wrong in this assessment. Matter of fact, I hope that I am, because this dude is elite, okay? But, it's really hard. There's not many JJs out there. You know what I mean? There's just not many JJs out there. And when you bring in Kyle Parker and Devin McQuinn as well, they have a lot of experience in football. They have a lot of snaps. You can't teach that. You got to have, that experience. Jeremiah Too Cold, 100%. I don't know. See, this is a matter of opinion. I don't even like going into this, but he said, Chris Henry is a way better recruit than Tate, though. I don't know that I would put way in there, but he's definitely a better prospect than Carnell Tate coming in. So it's up for debate. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving you guys my honest take on the situation, what we got going on. The Buckeyes really value experience. They value those snaps. They value that maturity. Chris Henry Jr. doesn't have that, but we'll see. He's either going to make an impact closer towards JJ or closer towards the impact Carnell Tate had as a freshman. I could see that being kind of in the middle there as well. I read that in an article as well on some website. So shout out, I forget where, or I would give them a little credit here too, but I thought that was a good example to bring up. And I'm talking about as a freshman? I see people in the chat. I knew this would, get people's gears a grinding a little bit. But I'm curious, guys, in the chat, where do you put, okay, compare Chris Henry Jr. What type of season do you think he's going to have compared to the season JJ had? You know what I'm saying? Like, compare that. But here's one thing I do know. Ryan Day told Chris Henry Jr. that he's going to be playing as a freshman. Ryan Day told him that. I mean, everybody heard it, right? When Chris Henry Jr. posted that phone call that they had back and forth, he told him, you're going to be playing beside Jeremiah Smith. This is Jeremiah Smith's last year. So he's going to be playing beside him on the field. And that's one of the things Chris Henry Jr. wanted to do. That's why he chose the Buckeyes, because he wanted to come here and play as a freshman. But we'll see how he acclimates, right, to the college, specifically Ohio State, thing. I like this here. If JJ's senior season was a 10, I would expect a 5 for Chris Henry Jr. That's exactly where I'm at. I'm right there as well. Jaquaden Guilford's another one that could sneak in there. He's another one that could sneak in there. There's some people in the Woody that have Quay pretty high on their list as, pretty coming, people reference him as a more athletic Carnell Tate. And that's a mouthful. You're talking about potential top 10 NFL draft pick. We're talking about a freshman wide receiver as being more athletic, right, version of him. That's pretty wild. But either way, Chris Henry Jr., I believe, is going to make an impact on this team. The wide receiver depth on this team leads me to believe that they're going to need one of these freshmen to step up and make an impact this year. Chris Henry Jr., Jaquaden Guilford will be doing that, and I think Chris Henry Jr. will be the one leading the charge there. So, great recruiting win for the Buckeyes. Russ, this statement is, there's nothing wrong with this statement. There's just not. I know that that's going to ruffle some feathers, but people sleep on Quay a little bit. But he is athletic. But it all depends this offseason. What do these guys do in the weight room, and how much can they acclimate to the culture and the college lifestyle? That's a big part of this, guys. You can look at these freshmen's physical tools, but there's a lot more to just what you can do physically to come and play at Ohio State. We all know that. But we'll see how they do. Next one I'm going to bring up here. Let me get rid of that one. Let's go ahead and bring up Sincere Johnson. So Sincere Johnson, linebacker out of this sound turned off. Number one linebacker across several industries. He is a 5-star plus recruit, sitting at about 6'3", 240 pounds. Early on in the process, the Buckeyes were curious on whether, right, he was going to be an edge or a linebacker. Ended up turning into more of the linebacker type scenario. But if you watch this film of this guy's senior season, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's been a minute. I watched his junior highlights and was impressed, but there's a pretty big jump, in my opinion, from his junior highlights to his senior highlights. He's got a quick trigger, comes downhill very fast, and obviously athletic. I see why he got moved to the number one linebacker, but playing linebacker at Ohio State, we know how difficult it is. James Laurinaitis expects a lot from you. He expects you to be able to learn every single linebacker position. He expects you to play at an elite level. And when you look at this room, this linebacker room, you got Christian Allegro coming from Wisconsin, 5th-year senior. You got Peyton Pierce. James considered him a starter last year. He's going to be a starter this year. And then you got, a 5-star talent and Riley Pettyjohn right behind him, who tore it up when he got in as a freshman, and TJ Alfred. You have him there as well. So this is a very, very packed room that is full of physical freaks already. You know what I'm saying? So Do I think Sincere Johnson makes an impact on this team? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to be meaningful snaps as a linebacker? No, I don't. Arvell Reese did not take meaningful snaps really until his third year in the program, and people want to compare Sincere Johnson to him. So, with the way the linebacker position is, with the room that we have here, I see Sincere Johnson making a pretty big impact on special teams, kind of like Riley and TJ did this year. Specifically, Riley, the dude was flying down the field on all his special teams. It was actually pretty fun just picking Riley out of the crowd, watching him sprint down on special teams. Dude was out for blood. I loved watching it. So I think this is, I think if you take one of TJ and Riley out, I think Sincere could see his production go up there as a freshman. I like this. Sincere will get Petty John type action as freshman here. Yeah, I can see that. Dang, Jeffrey, you think he's going to start? He may not start until 5 games into the season. Dang. Okay. Well, the dude's physically there. He can do it. But again, there's a lot of things you got to learn as a linebacker and this whole college life. I haven't got any updates from Sincere as far as these winter workouts go, but I will get some more updates there. But again, crowded linebacker room, but I'm excited to see what Sincere Johnson is going to be able to do. Next one on the list. Let me try to keep forgetting to delete these so it makes it easier for me. All right, let's go Blaine Bradford. Blaine Bradford, when he committed to the Buckeyes, he was the number 1 safety in the class. I mean, that's what the several industry rankings had him as. And, he committed to the Buckeyes, very solid in his commitment, solid in his word, said, not taking visits elsewhere. I'm locked in with the Buckeyes, and he kept his word. He was a man of his word for sure. But you see the quick trigger here. You see how smart of a football player he is. Obviously, you can tell by watching his film that he does a lot of watching the film, watching game film, and trying to diagnose defenses before the snap. He's had references to playing like a Caleb Downs. Obviously, the dude has the same hairstyle, and on a recruiting visit, they took pictures beside each other, and I'm like, dude, those guys could almost pass as brothers, but maybe I'm crazy. But either way, Blaine Bradford is on a lot of people's list of being very underrated here. Now, when you look at the safety room, chat, help me out here, because when I was making this list, I thought I was missing somebody, and I'm not talking about the nickel position, right? So help me out here. You got Jalen McClain, and you got Terry Moore, okay? 2 of our starting safeties. And behind him, I have Leroy Roker. Who am I missing? I need help here. I should have done the research before the show, but I forgot to. Be honest with you, I forgot. So I need your guys' help. Who's the other? I mean, is that where we're at? Is that just what it is this year for the Buckeyes? But either way, I think Blaine Bradford sees the field this year. I know Earl Little, but I think Earl Little, yes, Steely, I think Earl Little's playing the nickel position. And again, I'm just talking about the 2, safeties in the back, all the way back. Who's taking Caleb Downs and Jalen McClain? Who's filling Caleb Downs' spot, and who are the backups there? I guess you can throw Earl Little into that conversation. No, you can't. Not if he's starting. Well, yeah, Jermaine Matthews was the backup nickel this year. So yeah, I guess you could throw Earl Little in there as well. But what I'm saying is, I think based on the position group that the Buckeyes have this year, one of these freshman safeties coming in can make an impact on this team. And I think Blaine Bradford is up there on that list to do that. Obviously, you have Simeon Caldwell coming in as well, who some people think is going to grow into the linebacker position. I don't see that, but some people think that. You also have Kamari Bing out of Maryland. Alabama wanted him pretty badly. But I think out of these freshmen coming in, Blaine Bradford, I think dude's going to make he's going to see some playing time this year. I just don't know at what level that is, but I think he has the potential to make an impact this year. So I did Chris Henry, I did Sincere, I did Blaine. Here we are. Moving on to the next one. Kelly, maybe. You talked to somebody in the chat? Oh, Dominic Kelly. Yeah. So we'll do Jay Timmons next. That way we can clear up this corner conversation here. Jay Timmons. Now, this is an interesting one here. Rivals had him as the number 1 corner in the class. We all know the story of his recruitment. There is an analyst that works for Rivals that said, pound for pound, he believes Jay Timmons is the best football player in all of the 2026 class. So that's a lot. That's a big statement to say. Jay Timmons, extremely gifted, NFL, pedigree. His dad played in the NFL, type of corner. The room you're looking at corner is you got Jermaine and Devin, obviously, coming in and starting. And I think you got Earl Little in the nickel position, but then you got Cam Calhoun, Dominic Kelly behind him. And you got some other guys on the roster as well, Miles Lockhart. But I think you got Jermaine and Devin starting. Dominic Kelly, I believe, is going to be your number 3 outside corner coming in. And I think your number 4 outside corner is going to be one of Jay Timmons or Jordan Thomas. Oh, yeah. Gio, thank you. Deshaun Stewart as well. Okay, that's what I got going into his sophomore season. I knew I was missing somebody. Appreciate you, Gio. Do I think Jay Timmons is going to make an impact and see some snaps this year at the corner position? I don't think so in meaningful position or in meaningful snaps. Why? Because my prediction is that the freshman corner that makes the biggest impact this year on this team is Jordan Thomas. The 105th player ranked across the nation. I have got a lot of heat for saying that. I put out a YouTube short where I said that, and people are calling me absolutely insane. But I just think that, number one, when the Buckeyes recruited Jordan Thomas, they told him he was their number 1 target, and they paid him and treated him as such. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. The Buckeyes, Jordan Thomas is a 5-star type of talent coming in here. They paid him accordingly. They paid him like that. Rose through the rankings, coming out of New Jersey, a very, very good program as well. And I just think when I watch his film, I think the dude is just physically ready to play football. I saw one of his interviews. He is, locked in here, coming in here, working hard. And I have heard some things coming out of winter workouts about Jordan Thomas, and they have been impressive things to hear. But, this is this is a hard one. If I had to ask you, chat, who's going to make the bigger impact as a freshman on this team their freshman year, Jordan Thomas or Jay Timmons? Who's it going to be? You guys answer that. And I don't know. I find it very hard, to pick that. But that is my pick there. Do I think Jay Timmons has the potential to beat him out and make an impact on this team? Yeah. I mean, the dude could switch to wide receiver. He's that athletic. You see some of this film here, him playing wide receiver. Like, look at that catch. That's ridiculous. Jeremiah, very good point. Talking about Timmons and his versatility. A lot of people can see him playing nickel as well. Yeah, that's another good point to bring up, where that is a scenario where Jay could make a bigger impact on this team as if he finds himself in the nickel position, which, if that's the case, you're battling Earl Little, Miles Lockhart, and Jay. There would be the third one. And I think, Jay Timmons can physically beat out, Miles Lockhart potentially, but we'll see. Either way, both the freshman corners coming in, I think there is going to be some impact made from those guys coming in this class. Great job by Coach Walt in his recruiting. I like the way he's turned this around. It got a little shaky with only signing Devin Sanchez and then, the class before that. Obviously, none of those guys are here anymore. It got a little shaky. It looked like, hey, man, Coach Walt, what you doing? But never fear. He got it figured out. And by the way, in the 27 class, Coach Walt ain't playing games either. He's going for the number 1 and number 2 cornerback again, John Meredith out of Texas, and another guy. I'll do another show on that, talk about that. But sitting pretty good for the number 1 corner in the 27 class as well. So I think one of these freshmen can make an impact. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring up, oh, dang, I didn't. Okay, so I do want to talk about Sam Greer real fast, 6'7", 320-pound offensive tackle. I've heard people reference him coming in and pushing for a starting job. I'm not one of those guys. I think he can come in and push for the 2 deep at one of the tackle positions. If you look at our tackles, you got Ian Moore, you got Carter Lowe, and you got Deontay Armstrong. You got those guys as our backup tackles right now. Ian Moore will be starting. Austin Saraveld, Phillip Daniels, they'll be starting. So your backups look like Carter Lowe, Deontay Armstrong, and Sam Greer. Those are the guys I think will be battling for one of those number 2 positions. I could possibly see Sam Greer getting in as the backup right tackle in the 2 deep, but we'll see there. I didn't have his film to pull up, but it's really hard. I mean, dude, to be physically ready as a freshman tackle to play Big Ten football, that's very difficult. Very, very difficult. I mean, how many freshman tackles have we seen do that the entire time you've watched Ohio State football? 1. So it's a difficult thing to do. It's not a knock on Sam Greer whatsoever. The next one, and probably I would say the one that Buckeye Nation is most excited about, possibly making an impact as a freshman. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. Legend Bay. Legend Bay is the last one I got pulled up here. Obviously, we've talked about how much Ohio State went after him, the drama surrounding his recruiting, and Ohio State still went after him. I got on Huddle to look up his highlights, and I'll tell you guys, when you get on Huddle, when you look up highlights, you can see how many views that their highlight tape has. His has 19,920 views, which is a lot. It's a lot more than the average that I see on Huddle when I'm looking. So a lot of people have watched this highlight tape. You see his versatility. Plays quarterback, can play wide receiver, plays running back. The Buckeyes are going to want to utilize him in the running back position because when you look at the depth in this room, you start off with Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, who will be out in the spring for shoulder injury. That's a huge point right there. Behind them, you got Jacoby Jackson, the transfer guy coming in, who I think is going to make an impact as a transfer. And you got Turbo Rogers, another speed demon. Can Legend Bay come in here and make a quick impact on this team? You see the speed that he has. A lot of people that cover Texas football talk about him being the second fastest recruit they've ever seen come out of Texas, and that's fast. You look, did you guys just see that hit the jump ball? So curious, man. Arthur Smith got a nugget. He's very excited about having Legend Bay on this roster, and I am too. I'm just curious to see, are the Buckeyes going to do it, man? Are they going to throw Legend Bay in the Wildcat? Are they going to let him return punts? Are they going to let him return kicks? Are they going to have special plays drawn up to utilize the speed that Legend Bay has? So, Steely, I agree. I don't see how Legend doesn't do something this year. I do as well, because the Buckeyes made a very strong effort to make this roster more explosive. Bringing in Devin McQuinn, 10 300-meter dash type of player. Legend Bay, out of all the explosive players they brought in the transfer portal and recruiting, Legend Bay is the most explosive. I don't think that's up for debate. But There's a lot of other things that go into this. We know showing up to meetings on time, school, following rules, focused, and I hope that the Buckeyes can keep him locked in on his mission, because we saw how much drama was surrounded just his recruiting. So I get a little nervous that, right, maybe some of that can leak in to him and get him off track of his freshman season. But you couldn't ask to put him in a better place to keep him focused and on track for what he's doing. The Buckeyes, very, very good at doing that. So that's it for now. I got one more freshman to talk about. But guys, do me a favor. Look at this list, all right? What player did I leave off of this list that you think I should have talked about? I talked about Jaquaden Guilford, talked about Sam Greer, talked about Jordan Thomas. I didn't talk about Braxton Rembrandt, who shot up the recruiting rankings into a top 10 linebacker in the class, according to Rivals. Max Riley, he's another dog. Damari Simeon, the lighter end of a defensive tackle. Emmanuel Ruffin, Simeon Caldwell, Sana, Dre Quinn. Dre Quinn's an interesting prospect as well. Favor Akey, Kamari Bing, Darius McKinley, Jaden Ricketts, Nick Latar, Luke Fahey, Tucker Smith, Caden Gibhart. Well, you guys can read. I'm going to stop. But who do you guys think could possibly be in this equation as well? The kicker? Yeah, what kicker did we bring in the wonder if he's on the list yet. The freshman that we got? Yeah, how come he's not on here? Oh, because he's preferred walk-on. That's why. I don't even know if that's what you guys are talking about, the kicker in there. Sade says, I like Bing a lot. Don't know if he makes an impact yet. Oh, yeah. Brock Boyd. Brock Boyd's one. Could have potentially been on this list. Matt, yeah, Dre Quinn, I said, he's an interesting prospect for sure. Coming out of a powerhouse program in Georgia. Late riser, was committed to Clemson. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see there. I always get curious, like, what are these guys going to do in the off season? You know what I'm saying? What are they going to do in the off season? All right. Here's the last thing I want to talk about, guys. I want to talk about Jir Perez. For those of you that follow this show, you guys know how crazy I was about Jir Perez. 6'4", about 360 pounds, played for Glenville, played mainly on the offensive line his senior year, faced an ankle injury all of his senior year, yet still went on and won a state championship. You pull up his film here. A lot of people a little bit worried about the extra weight that he was carrying and his ability to stay on the field for longer periods of time and so on and so forth. But this is your rare Ohio-bred nose tackle of just simply clogging up the middle. When you watch his highlights, he accomplishes that goal very, very much. And the intel that I'm hearing about Jir Perez, number one, is that he's healthy now. So that ankle fully healed up, moving right along. And number two, the kid has lost 20 pounds already. So he came in about 6'4", 360 pounds, I was told. About 6'4", 340 pounds right now, getting him in shape. And the people inside of the Woody are more ecstatic about his potential than us fans are. Well, not me, but most fans are. Obviously, as a freshman, there's a long way to go. I think he's a developmental type of prospect. But I wanted to give him a shout out, man, because when he committed to Florida, I was distraught. I was really excited about, his ability to come in here and develop into, a good player. I'm sorry, I'm getting a work call right now. Give me 1 second. I got to text my crew's working late. Sorry. 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. This is totally unprofessional and not cool. All righty. Back at it. There we go. So Jir Perez. Keep an eye on him, man. Killing it in the weight room right now. And he is the strongest freshman in this class. Now, you might say, well, I would hope so. He's the biggest dude coming in here. That's not necessarily the case. In the weight room, he's the strongest freshman out of this class by kind of a lot, in a lot of areas. So, you look at the body type that he has, you look at the belly, and you might think otherwise. Nah, dude, this dude is nimble, quick for a 340-pound dude. He's athletic. He's got the strength behind it. So I'm excited for Jir Perez. Hope he stays here. I've reached out to him to try to get him back on the show. He was on the show before, so we will see. This is interesting. Unfortunately, I was watching the Rivals video yesterday, and they said Jalen Brewster is solid with Texas Tech. Just wanted to point that out. Yeah, I mean, the Rivals guys have zero clue on whether he's solid with Texas Tech or not. He was just asked in an interview if he was, and he said no. So, I mean, players say that they're solid all the time and flip out of the class. You know what I mean? You guys have seen it here on this show. I have literally called parents mid-show, hey, are you solid with the Buckeyes? Oh, for sure. I'm not going anywhere. And they flip out. You know what I mean? But yeah, Jalen Brewster is going to be one of those guys this class that his name is going to be utilized to generate as many clicks as possible. Long way to go in the recruitment. We'll see, but I do like where the Buckeyes stand right now. But, yeah, you're going to hear a bunch of different videos on where guys are at right now, but a long way to go. I do know the Buckeyes have added a little detail into their recruiting strategy for this 2027 class. I'm going to hold off in sharing that detail. I'm sorry. But it's just interesting because it's one of those, it's a rumor that I heard, but it's a little bit more than a rumor, and it might be in the gray area of recruiting. But we'll see, how that plays out. I'll get into it one day on the show, but the Buckeyes aren't playing with recruiting. They've sat back and watched how other teams are operating, watched how the CSC is not going to enforce anything, and maybe the gloves might be taken off for this 27 class. They kept the gloves on in the 26 class and got the number 3 class in the nation. So what happens if the gloves get taken off for these Buckeyes? They did a darn good job in the 26 class. I'm excited about this 27 class. Let's get to this super chat. Johnny, show tanker. Chris Henry Jr. may get a lot of playing time this year. He will impress. I hope so. I hope he does. Tinker, come here, Tink. Come here. Come on, girl. It's okay. You've been requested again, Tinker. You're getting famous. You're getting famous. Say hello. Nah, I don't want kisses. There you go. Look into the camera. There you go. There's Tinker. There is Tinker. I was looking in this chat too. Yeah, Jeremiah, the Naeem offered example. Yeah, dude said he was locked in too. That's good stuff. Steely, Caden Dixon, Wyatt. Yeah, absolutely. Matt Patricia, better stay. Yeah, at this point in time, the only way Matt Patricia doesn't stay is if an NFL team and comes in and offers him kind of the Chip Kelly situation, But I will tell you this, that would absolutely blindside and shock several players inside of the Woody, for sure. All righty. All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys for joining tonight. Thursday, Kellen Weimer is scheduled to come on the show. Obviously, things can change with that, but I'll keep you guys updated. And then Friday, the big one, Zion Grady coming on the show. Please be there for that, guys. Show Zion some love for sure. He was on last year. He's going to be on again. He's a good interview. So it's going to be a good time. Let Buckeye Nation get to know him. Got some other ones in play to potentially come on the show. But I appreciate you guys for watching tonight. Appreciate the super chats. Appreciate all the support. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Do the same on Spreaker and Apple Podcasts. I've got to take care of this work call, or I would stick around for a little bit longer and chat it up with y'all. But my phone is going wild right now. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.